All right, so the Great Awakening is a response to the Enlightenment. What happens is there are some ministers in the northern colonies who started to become worried that they feel like people are turning away from the church. So they want to reawaken people. And so one of these ministers is Jonathan Edwards, and you've got his sermon, I'm looking at it on the computer right here, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God. This is sometimes referred to as like a fire and brimstone sermon because it's what he wants to do is awaken the emotions in us and get us to stop thinking and start, feeling and thinking. And so it's called Fire and Brimstone because like there's this part where he talks about how we're just a spider being dangled over the pit of hell, and we think we're doing all these things to keep us out of hell, but really it's God that controls it. He says here, right, you do not see the hand of God, but you look at the state of your bodily constitution, your care for your own life, the means you use for your own preservation, right? So he doesn't speak specifically to like smallpox inoculation, but it's that idea. You think you're doing these things, but really it's God that's decided this. And if you're not careful, right, God could just drop you into this fiery pit of hell. So definitely getting people feeling instead of thinking. But what happens with this Great Awakening is I don't really want to say it backfires, but that's kind of what happens is other ministers will take up this theme of trying to awaken people, bring them to the church, and many of them will go throughout the colonies speaking to large crowds of people. One of these is George Whitefield, and you've got Franklin's going to go see him, so you've got that excerpt on your outline too. And they would draw huge crowds of people. And so this is there's three things that are significant about the Great Awakening. First is it's a shared experience among all the colonies. All of the colonies will experience this Great Awakening. So we kind of the first time we have this like colonial experience. And then two, these ministers who are traveling around speaking, they often aren't associated with any specific church or reflect any specific institution. And so in this way, it gets people thinking about like hierarchy and why someone gets to be like where they are or who they are. And if you can start to question the hierarchy of the church, it's not that much of a leap to start questioning the monarch, the king. Another thing that kind of is connected to the ideas of hierarchy is that there would be these ministers would go speak, and there'd be huge crowds of people that would show up in these open fields. And so you'd have people of different classes, of different races, men and women, all staying together in this huge field. And while it doesn't get people to break down like the barriers of gender or the barriers of race, it did maybe get people to start questioning like class barriers. And then third, the consequence of the Great Awakening is jumping out of my head. Oh, it's that there are different ways of approaching religion in this period. Like you get the growth of like the Methodists at this time, other religious sects. And so people start to believe in the freedom of religion and letting people practice the faith in the way that they choose to, which again we haven't seen really yet, right? Remember, Mary Dyer was executed for being a Quaker by the Puritans. So again, these are the three things that make the Great Awakening significant. First, it's a shared experience among all the colonies. Second, it gets people questioning ideas of hierarchy within their own social structures, but also like within like levels of the church, which might get us to question the king in about a generation. And then it sets up ideas of religious freedom. The last document that you have on there is, what I love about it is it's Franklin going to see George Whitefield. Apparently Whitefield had this great way of speaking. And Franklin goes, thinking that Whitefield's going to try to take his money. And Franklin's like, he's not going to get anything from me. And then if you read it, like he's like, I'll give him a little bit, and I'll give him a little bit more. And then by the end, he's given him his whole pocket. And what's significant about that is that Franklin, the guy we used as the enlightened thinker, is easily swayed by these ministers that are traveling around. Imagine how much the rest of us, right, would be easily swayed. And then in Whitefield's defense, though, he did die penniless. He used the money that he had to give advantages to those that did not. So, all right, if you have any questions, you can leave those in the discussion board with this module. Take care. Bye.